like I can comfortably, without fear of contradiction, confirm to Kenyans that Baba's choice amongst his children for who would succeed him was not Raila Jr., was not Winnie. After Fidel died, Raila told Rosemary to prepare to become the MP of Kibra. And upon being urged on, Rosemary came for me. And she told me, I would like you to take me to Kibra. And I took her to Kibra in her maiden rally at Kamkunji grounds, which is very symbolic in Kibra constituency.
Who do you think might be able to fit in those boots as an opposition leader?
The person who will fit in those huge shoes is not necessarily Uboro Dinga, who was hurriedly gifted the position to be the party leader of ODM interim.
Good afternoon. Welcome to News Beyond Headlines. I'm your host, Violet Auma, and today we speak to one of the Kenya's outspoken leaders, Kakamega Senator and Senate Majority Chief Whip, Dr. Boni Khalwale. We want to talk about his reflections on Raila Odinga's death, to what people call defiance on matters Malava by-election, but also we'll be talking about his political ambitions, 2027 gubernatorial ambitions here in Kakamega County. Welcome, Dr. Senator Boni Khalwale.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
my sister.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it's my pleasure that you are having me this afternoon.
Senator, you know, like currently as we speak, Kenya continues mourning Raila Odinga. You as a person, I know you've interacted with him. How do you view Raila Odinga as a person, the late Raila Odinga?
Raila was a great man. His persona, his thinking, his politics were consequential. And I must say it very quickly that not all of us could have spoken at the Rukim Mass on Sunday, much as we would have loved to. But purely because of the interest of time, it was not possible. But I was personally disappointed that we sat there for long hours and many speakers, speaker after speaker, save for the governor of Siaya, James Orengo, made speeches, important speeches, but clearly limiting the contribution that Raila made on the political landscape of this country to his sunset days in the broad-based government. Raila's contribution was far greater than the little things of broad-based government. Raila's contribution should have been celebrated by others who were not given an opportunity to signify his achievements elsewhere beyond the broad-based government. The broad-based government is an experiment. It is yet to achieve anything. We hope it will achieve a lot, but to reduce the celebration of such a great man to that, you denied him a chance, because the international community was waiting to hear why the enigma was an enigma.
What was that was supposed to be said that was not said?
I mean, if you had given Mother Karua an opportunity to speak, she had something to say. She was his running mate. She worked with Raila for 20 years in Parliament. And part of those 20 years, Raila was Prime Minister. Nobody mentioned how Raila brought the country together after the post-election violence. People like Mother Karua, who were there at that time, would surely have had an opportunity to celebrate that. And many more and not forgetting even myself. At the peak of my oversight role, when I challenged the Minister for Finance of the broad-based government, Amos Kimunya, Raila was our Prime Minister.
You are asking
I would have
why
told
I'm saying the ones who have said
some of the things that Raila told
No.
me
Yes.
before we went for the
Why?
Let me tell you, we have to be serious.
and so
The
on.
people
and
who
so
have
forth.
sent you,
You've worked with him, maybe as an opponent or ally and all that. Being an opposition leader, but also being on the same side where you were at some point, which one actually stood out for you?
For me, what stands out is that I never used to agree with Raila. We disagreed with Raila on just about everything because of my persona. I follow my mind. And when I followed my mind, for the many elections that His Excellency, the late President, the late Prime Minister, ran for President, I always found myself choosing a different side. Apart from, of course, 2017, when we closed ranks, Musali and I and Wetangula, and said that we wanted the community to be in NASA and solidly to make Raila president. And I'm very proud because in 2017, Raila won the election. And the Supreme Court agreed. But then Raila then disappointed me. He refused to take us back to a rerun. Up to this day, not him, not Miguna, not Orengo. And I mentioned these two names very carefully because those were the giants who were advising Raila Odinga from his community. Why he didn't take up the chance for a rerun which he was going to win, to this day, I've never understood. Some say there was an element of inducement. I can't say that about a dead man, but I keep on wondering, what is it? We had won the election. The Supreme Court had given us the victory, only that the Supreme Court does not have the constitutional power to declare somebody a winner through an election petition. So they took us to a rerun to go and claim our victory. And the guy backed out. I was personally pissed off when I saw him on the footsteps of Harambe's house with Uhuru Kenyatta in what became some form of handshake, politics of handshakes. I do not subscribe to them because the Constitution of Kenya is structured so that political offices are achieved through competition and not through boardroom decisions. In fact, one of the biggest weakness that we have in my party, UDA, is that the party leader of UDA, His Excellency the President, who we respect, does not believe in competitive identification of candidates. He believes in boardroom decisions where Beatrice should give in to Jacob and Jacob should be forced to accept that he's not the best. And yet, it is the people who are supposed to decide. You've seen, even in the current by-elections, candidates from across the country have been asked to step out of and back out of the race. That is not why, at the age of 22 years old, at the University of Nairobi, I joined the political space where I have stayed steadfastly. I joined Believe because having read and understood what democracy means, I chose to go into that space so that Kenyans, rich and poor, from influential to non-influential families all the way to dynasties, would have an equal chance, an equal opportunity to ascend not only just to political office, but to the highest office of the land. In fact, it was because of this, partly, that from nowhere, I decided to back William Ruto, because William Ruto had no chance. He was facing the dynasties of Kenya, and I was irritated as a son of a Changa brewer that then when will our time come? So
Actually,
I decided to back him.
yeah, we will be coming back to basically what is happening, and I really want to know where you stand currently in matters UDA. But still on Raila Odinga, Raila's passing, according to you, what do you think Kenya has lost, and what's his political legacy that he's left behind?
There is an English saying that when a king dies, he doesn't die with a crown. And they say in English that the king is dead, long live the crown. So Raila's death, the pain of his absence is ultimately for the family and close friends. But for the nation, the king is dead, long live the crown.
True.
There will be many Railas who will come after him. Never mind that many speakers thought that here goes a man who will never be replaced. No. Nature abhors a vacuum.
Who do you think might be able to fit in those boots as an opposition leader?
The person who will fit in those huge shoes is not necessarily Uboro Odinga, who was hurriedly gifted the position to be the party leader of ODM interim. Is not necessarily a member of his family. Is not necessarily the people who have been angling to be perceived as the heir apparents. The person who will succeed Raila Odinga will emerge. And that person will emerge not necessarily from the opposition. It could be very well even within the current composition of the government side, a man or a woman will emerge. And I tell you, I've been on this terrain for 25 years. I know there is talent in this country. There is serious talent in this country. It is just because of the way we play politics that some of the most talented people, so many obstacles are put in their path. So they find it fairly difficult to ascend. But ascend, they shall. Yes.
During the speeches, one of the people that spoke was Siaya Governor Orengo. And one of the things that he said is that I think it was during that time that they were supposed to swear in Baba as people's president. He said some of the people, that is the time he realized that some of the people are actually wearing trousers, but they're not men. Do you think that this statement was actually demeaning some of the leaders in the country who actually didn't make it to the swearing?
No, what Orengo was doing, he was being emotional. Orengo was referring to those of us at that time who refused that Baba should not be allowed to take a meaningless oath, self-administered, that was not consequential. Secondly, who knew that in the event the sitting government would do what it takes to quell that kind of attempt, it was going to result in unnecessary loss of many lives and property. Not because we were cowards when we took that position, but because we know and we knew that the Constitution of Kenya is very explicit on how to take over power. Taking over power in the Constitution of Kenya is only through one path, through an election. So we knew any other path was treasonable, and any attempt to pursue it was self-serving and meaningless. I'm a doctor. I'm a scientist. You want a huge decision like that not to be in vain. So we were advising the Prime Minister to go and take an oath in vain. As a scientist, I would like any consequential decision to have desired consequences. And the only desired consequence from that self-administered oath was that he becomes president. And there was no way he was going to become a president. So we decided to be sober, and we said no. So when I heard James Orengo, a man I respect a lot, make those remarks, I knew he was being emotional and he was playing to the gallery. But more importantly, that statement by Orengo, he should have acknowledged the statement and said that he was quoting Chelagat Mutai. It was not his statement. That was the statement of the late Chelagat Mutai, who, when she stood out with the 7 bearded sisters against Moi, she laughed at the men who were not seeing that Moi was messing the country, and she called them women in trousers. So the little that Orengo should have done, and with due respect, he should have acknowledged that he was quoting Chelagat Mutai.
So saying that he was emotional, you were not offended because your man,
Not at all.
the man that you were being said.
No, I was not offended, and I hope Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, Kalonzo, and Johnson Muthama, those of us who stopped, who refused that Raila should take the oath, they were not offended. Let me tell you, Orengo had also another burden. Being the politician that he is, he has ambitions of succeeding Baba, not just in the community, but in the nation. And indeed, James Orengo would make a great president. So he was making what he thought, what he must have thought was a giant step in making a statement that I have what it takes, that I'm one of the few who asked Papa, who allowed Baba to self-administer an oath. If you ask Dr. Miguna, he would have told you the same. Yes. But the country, as George Saitoti said, a time comes when the country is bigger than an individual. And therefore, at the time of taking oath, when we argued with the Raila Odinga, James Orengo, Miguna, myself, we were in Orengo's office in the city center, his legal office. When we argued that he should take or not take, it was so hot that we had to talk to the president of Tanzania, Magufuli. And Magufuli called and told Raila, if you take this oath, I can see your team. Khalwale is there, Orengo is there, Miguna is there, Muthama is there. Khalwale and Muthama are explicit that you cannot take the oath. If you take it, you will become an international pariah. You will no longer be the admired opposition leader. Don't take. But Orengo kept quiet. Miguna urged him on, and it came to pass. End result, nothing.
I know currently you're not in the opposition, and as you say, you have not been very close with Raila Odinga, especially because it's like you've been drifting apart when it comes to matters politics. A lot of people actually have been saying that Raila Odinga has been the glue that has been putting together all these people in terms of, the opposition, but also ODM. Do you think that his death marks the end of ODM?
I would love ODM to remain strong. I would love ODM to outlive the lifetime of Raila Odinga. However, history teaches me otherwise. History teaches me that Kanu died with Moi, that Foda Sili died with Kenneth Matiba. that Fort Kenya died with Michael Kijana Wamalwa, and that PNU died with Mwai Kibaki, and that Jubilee, thank God President Uhuru is still alive. Why you see it still kicking but not strong is because President Uhuru is around. But if he was not there, it would have died with him. So the history of this country, unfortunately, we can't pretend that we are in the US, where you have got a strong Democratic Party and Republican Party. The history of our country is that parties exist with their strong political leaders. I see that hovering around Raila Odinga. You saw, even when we were in Bondo on the final day, as he was eulogized, you could see 3 different groups of ODM. There was the progressive team of Babu Wino and Edwin Sifuna. They were saying the things that were exciting the voter of the future, the youth. And we had the second group of the people who came to government through the window of broad-based government, who came to eat. They included Piondai, he came to eat. Oparanya, he came to eat. Joho, he came to eat. And the young lady from Turkana, they all came to eat. They would have, and the man I love, John Badi, they came to eat. They would have killed you. You heard those statements. They were weeping more than the bereaved, because they knew that if the weeping does not whip the president sufficiently for him to sustain them in government, the death of Tinga was marking the end of their eating. And let me tell you, it is because some of them are not deep enough. Raila was not taking them to government so that they eat. He was taking them to government so that strategically he would prepare himself for 2027. So that strategically he would fundraise. You require billions of shillings to run a presidential campaign. So they thought he was doing it for them because he loved them. That was political strategy. And that's why he panicked when he saw that the community was starting to buy into the idea of broad-based government. He was forced to go public and say that, who told you that ODM will not have a presidential candidate? Those of us who understand the chess game that we call politics in Kenya, we knew exactly what Mzee was doing, strategizing. Well, some people say he did that so as to quell the Gen Z uprising. I do not think so. He saw an opportunity. The Gen Z could only have been silenced by His Excellency Right Honorable Raila Odinga if he was the owner of the dog. He was not. So he rode on that and got what he got. And I think the Gen Zs that were the owner of the Gen Z uprising were far removed from the political shenanigans that everybody is talking about. Because those young people, and I can see a few of them in this press conference, these ones, they were only armed with a smartphone and the Kenyan flag. The people who caused loss of lives and property were hardcore criminals in Rastafari. I was there on the 25th of June, I saw the two different layers. When they were approaching Parliament with their smartphones in their hands and singing, they were not a threat. But when the hardcore guys came in, our life immediately came under threat. So let's give it to our youth. They did what they could. I don't think they could have done more than that. But shame unto the political forces that then infiltrated the agenda of the youth. I do not think the smartphone wielding and national flag wearing youth were planning to overthrow the government. They were making a statement in respect of the issues which they raised, which included, amongst others, unemployment.
So is there anything that young people will learn from Raila Odinga?
Yes, Raila started as a young person. When he was detained for the first time without trial, he was 37. That is just 2 years before the definition of a youth, which ends at 35. It's one of them. So what they can learn from him is that you don't have to wait to become bald-headed like Khalwale before you start your journey. You should start from right where you are. Even you, as truly speaking here, I started from the age of 22 at the University of Nairobi. Yes, and it was not a joke. Okay. We were the generation of youth who overthrew the government.
There is one question that I want to ask you about Raila's before we come to that. I mean, we go to the next segment of the questions that I have for you. Same with the speeches that we had during Raila's burial. Winnie Odinga, she spoke, and then at the tail end, she said, but if you want to know, I'm coming, I'm ready to come back home. Yes. According to you, with this statement that she said, what do you think that she meant? Is it like she meant that she's coming home to join politics? She's coming home to take over the fathers? You know, what is your take on this?
I can't speak for Winnie because I have never shared a conversation with him apart from when I met her to congratulate her upon being elected to go to Iyala. I told her I voted for you, and I actually voted for her. So I don't know her mindset. However, when she made that statement, I was seated with Eugene Wamalwa, and I poked his rib side and told him, "Did you hear that?" Then he told me, "Yes." And I told him, that girl doesn't want to stay in Iyala. She was yearning for a more visible presence in the politics of this country before 2027, because I suspect that she wants to gun for something. Yeah. Let me tell you, there are many people who didn't speak who knew Baba. Like, I can comfortably, without fear of contradiction, confirm to Kenyans that Baba's choice amongst his children for who would succeed him was not Raila Jr., was not Winnie. After Fidel died, Raila told Rosemary to prepare to become the MP of Kibra. And upon being urged on, Rosemary came for me. And she told me, "I would like you to take me to Kibra." And I took her to Kibra in her maiden rally at Kamkunji grounds, which is very symbolic in Kibra constituency. She did not tell me that the father asked her to look for me. If he did, I don't know. She can confirm. If he didn't, then she made that decision herself for whatever reasons. So after I took her back, shortly after she fell unwell, and she went to South Africa. And Raila would go to South Africa to visit her in hospital. And when he would come to Nairobi, he would tell me, your friend has greeted you. She's going to do well. She will be well. That is the girl Raila wanted to be, to succeed him.
To take the mantle.
Yes, Rosemary. I saw her talking, very polished, very intelligent, very present. And I felt very bad. And do you know the thought that went through my mind? That under the Constitution of Kenya, people living with disabilities have an avenue through which they can make the contribution. So because I know Baba wanted Rosemary to be an active player, maybe not even succeeded, through the provisions of the Constitution, she should be allowed. After all, I know a few people who live with the disability of blindness who are active in politics. In fact, one of the presidential candidates was a person living with disability. So I don't think you can rule Rosemary Odinga out of the question. But I saw in her demeanor that it's not on her mind. For your information, I'm a doctor. We are trained to read body language, to attempt to understand more when somebody is speaking, because when patients present to you, you have to hear more than what they are telling you. So I feel bad for her, and I want to use this opportunity to tell her, I am very sorry. She's a great woman. Yes. And my apologies to Winnie, my apologies to Junior. I have nothing against them, but at my age, they must listen to what I'm saying. It is without prejudice.
Yeah, but maybe one of these fine days we will get them, in this political scene in the country, probably.
If they were to run for something and they persuaded me to support them and they convinced me that they would deliver, I would
You're
support
there
them.
too. Oh, okay.
But I was just showing them that the real jewel in that family today is Rosemary.
Okay.
Let me tell you, if Fidel was alive today, the Fidel we were campaigning with during NASA, if he was alive today, Oburu Dinga would have kissed goodbye his ambition to be the party leader. The young man would instantly have been the party leader of ODM, even before NEC would have made the decision. The young man had a spark. He was really his father.